Breaking news, we have just received some damaging reports about several lending companies. The only thing I can say is, wow. What is going on? What happened to all these so-called crypto banks? Things seem to be getting worse and worse and worse. So let me tell you about it. First of all, this came out. Apparently, according to inside sources, FTX has now walked away from Celsius. We know that FTX recently has been throwing money around, throwing loans around to Voyager and to BlockFi. And people are wondering why. Why are they not helping Celsius, right? Well, it looked like they tried, or at least they tried to take advantage of the situation, and now they're walking away. So why is that? Well, according to inside sources, FTX looked at the balance sheet and saw a $2 billion hole. So if the sources are correct, Celsius is missing about $2 billion within its balance sheet. Where is it? Is it locked into the Beacon chain? Is it gone? Right? Is this the exposure to Terra possibly? We don't know. But back in May, there were still $12 billion in assets under management. But where is this $2 billion hole coming from? We don't quite know. So according to this, FTX walking away because of that $2 billion hole. And according to sources, Celsius is not playing nice. They don't really want this to happen. So FTX is walking away, right? And that $2 billion correlates with the previous report of Goldman Sachs trying to buy Celsius assets for about $2 billion. Not just them, they're trying to lead a group to buy the firm. But here's the thing. If they're trying to buy Celsius for $2 billion and Celsius is missing $2 billion, well, that's not good either, right? So I don't know if Celsius could be saved at this point. This is still unconfirmed. This is according to inside sources. So it could be fun, but the more we learn about Celsius, the worse it's starting to sound. But that's not all. FTX isn't done. This is on the front page of CNBC. FTX is going to buy BlockFi for $25 million in a fire sale. This comes after a huge loan of $250 million, right, to BlockFi. Now, this is controversial. Also, this is according to inside sources. It says 3 sources familiar with the situation. Now, I think this is misleading because I think it's a $25 million plus the $250 million, totaling $275 million. That makes more sense. It doesn't make sense to be selling for $25 million, especially since BlockFi was evaluated at $4.8 billion not too long ago, right? And here's the kicker. Zach Prince just tweeted this. The co-founder of BlockFi says there's lots of rumors out there. I can 100% confirm that we aren't being sold for $25 million. Right? I encourage everyone to trust only details that you hear directly from BlockFi. We'll share more with you later on. So, does this confirm that they're not being sold? No. This is simply confirming they're not being sold for $25 million. Most likely, it's probably the $25 million plus the $250 million. So, you're talking about $275 million in total. I could believe that, but ultimately, what's happening right now is FTX is looking to not only bail out companies, but buy them out completely. I'm pretty sure that Voyager will be announcing something soon. Voyager took out even a bigger loan, $500 million. And just yesterday, I covered how they could have exposure, another $250 million exposure with Celsius. So I'm pretty sure Voyager will probably be bought out in a fire sale as well. But right now, we don't know about BlockFi because Zach has tweeted this out saying that they're not being sold for $25 million, but that doesn't mean they're not being sold at all. And this morning, I reported this. Genesis, which a lot of people are not familiar with, they're also an institutional lending project. And this came out that they suffer hundreds of millions in losses due to, again, Three Arrows Capital. So I believe this is the end of CeFi. I think after this whole ordeal, no one is going to be trusting CeFi anymore. These so-called crypto banks, right? During good times, they seemed like they were the best invention ever. We were getting high interest with our crypto, right? But what were they doing with that crypto? It turns out they were lending it to people without having proper due diligence. People like Three Arrows Capital that has just squandered it, right? And they also participated in DeFi projects and staking that they probably should not have. So risk management went out the window. So again, a lot of people out there, when things are good, risk just goes out the window, right? Like risk management goes out the window. Profiting goes out the window because people think it's always going to be good until it's not. So I do believe this is probably the end of CeFi. Now, CeFi is not to be confused with DeFi. DeFi, CeFi, very different. DeFi is controlled by projects that are decentralized, controlled by DAOs or the people, governed by the people. Now, with that said, there's still risk with DeFi. We hear about hacks all the time. Vulnerabilities, hacks, they happen all the time. And we hear about these huge losses because of them, right? So DeFi doesn't come without its risk. But at the very least, we know that with DeFi projects, they're not going to have withdrawal limitations or withdrawals stopped or having some kind of buyout or all these things that we're hearing about, right? But DeFi has its risks. It's not perfect, but I do believe DeFi will survive and staking will survive, because staking is also a different part of DeFi that many people kind of, might not understand. But staking rewards is part of crypto. All these projects that have proof of stake consensus, they require people to stake to power the network. And in return, you get staking rewards. Okay? That is natural. That is part of crypto. So there's many projects out there that still give out staking rewards. All you have to do is download their wallet and hit stake and you're good to go. Now, of course, that's much safer than DeFi or CeFi, but there's still risk, because if the company goes under, if the project goes under, for example, like Terra, well, then you're still screwed. Centralized lending, centralized platform that's providing interest, most likely after this horror deal, it's over. I don't see anyone really trusting any of them for quite some time, right? And you could argue this is probably good for the industry, that right now the weeds are being whacked, right? The bad apples are being thrown out during this bad period. The companies that shouldn't exist are now being weeded out, and you could argue that this is what's needed. The Band-Aid is being pulled off, and once we recover, which we will, things will get a whole lot better. Okay, so that is what's going on right now. Bitcoin is below 19,000. So it's very fearful right now. This morning I covered about inflation, about the SEC, Gary Gensler, Fed Chair Powell. They both seem to be making all the moves that's crashing the market and crashing crypto, right? But with that said, does that mean it's over, it's done, Bitcoin and crypto is gone? Answer to those questions, no. No, no, no. Even though we are facing some very, very, very strong headwinds and some very bad macro stuff, the macro environment is absolutely horrible, Bitcoin and crypto will find its way. Bitcoin being the greatest store of value, the most secure network that we have today, right, will continue on because of holders like you and I. Holders that truly believe in Bitcoin, that truly hate what the governments are doing around the world with their printing, with their monetary policy, with their quantitative easing and now tightening and everything else that they're doing, right? Really screws things up. And that is why Powell himself doesn't really even know if his own actions are going to save things or going to help, right? He came out and said he's unsure. of a hard or soft landing, you should say, right? So this is why Bitcoin holders will continue to hodl, because they truly believe what Bitcoin's all about, and they really, really distrust the federal banks of the world. And as for crypto, yes, crypto is suffering through a crisis right now because of the lending companies and because there's VCs, investors that are going belly up. But crypto, like we know, is very early. All these projects, we know many of them will fail. They're getting weeded out. But the ones that survive are the ones that will become the dominant powerhouses of the future. This is just like the dot-com bubble / boom, right? You had a lot of companies getting valued really high up. Then a lot of them went under. And the ones that withstood all that, the ones that continue forward, are the big tech companies of today. Things are still being figured out, which is why we're going through some of the things that we're seeing, rough times, but that does not mean you want to give up on crypto overall. So despite everything that's going out there, right, I still believe I will continue forward, right? And for me, I'm making sure that I have enough cash on the side so that even if we do have a prolonged weakness, prolonged downturn, right? Even if we go into recession, right? That I'll be able to continue to DCA along the way. And I do hope that you guys stick with me and continue the journey forward. All right, guys, smash a like, subscribe to the channel, tune in tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And in the meantime, I'll be dusting this off and seeing if I can throw my application in. Hopefully, it's not too late. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.